He likes to stay humble. That's it, huh? Which one for the office?
Which one?
Sorry, in the middle.
September 13th approaches, the excitement for the highly anticipated super middleweight clash between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez is reaching a fever pitch. One of the most talked about training camps of the year, Crawford has shut the doors to the media, fans, and even his usual circle, focusing entirely on what could be the defining fight of his career. His goal is crystal clear: dethrone the undisputed super middleweight champion, Canelo Alvarez. It's a daunting task, one that will test every ounce of Crawford's ability as a fighter.
The ring with Canelo Alvarez. Terence is not going to see anything that he hasn't seen before. No, he hasn't seen this beast on fight night, but he's seen versions of this beast for a very, very, very long time. People have said that he's a blown up 147-pound fighter. If you remember, he said it was hard for him to make 147 when he fought Errol Spence Jr. I was like, yo, how is that possible? I didn't realize he was really doing everything that's needed to gain the weight properly. Most fighters don't know how to gain weight and fit into a weight class properly. He's done.
Moving up from the 154-pound division to 168, Crawford has always been known for his adaptability, slick footwork, and devastating combinations. But now, stepping into a division where Canelo has reigned supreme for years, Crawford faces the toughest challenge of his career. Canelo has been nearly unstoppable at super middleweight, and he enters this fight as the heavy favorite.
As a fighter in our generation that's a Hall of Famer, that got the biggest name in the sport. So, I chose to go up in weight and to actually try to conquer him from, all his achievements in the division. So why not? I just respect him as all. He's a great fighter. He's, a good boxer. He's a good counter puncher. He's never, off balance. He got a good chin. He got good power. Got, good movement when he want to move. What is there to not say about him?
No, I got you. Now, with all of that, as you rattled off, we'll call it the scouting report, right? What will you have to do to be your best version in order to get this victory?
I think just be myself and just don't get careless in the ring and, stay sharp all 12 rounds. If it goes 12 rounds, I think that's the only thing that, I need to do and make sure that in training that I sharpen.
Despite the odds, Crawford remains undeterred. He's proven willing to do whatever it takes to prepare, even isolating himself completely in Colorado Springs. No distractions, no media, no visitors, just pure focus. His training camp has become one of the most discussed storylines heading into fight night. Moving from 154 to 168 is no small leap, especially against a natural powerhouse like Canelo. But Crawford's team insists he's making all the right adjustments, retaining the speed and fluidity that have always defined his style. Interview. Still, the size difference cannot be overlooked. Canelo is built for 168. His power and pressure break down even the best of opponents. Crawford may own one of the sharpest boxing IQs in the sport, but he'll need every ounce of it to outthink and outmaneuver the Mexican champion. His game plan will likely revolve around speed, precision, and ring intelligence, staying one step ahead of Canelo at all times.
That many people have sent me to determine in their mind that Terence Bud Crawford would lose to Canelo Alvarez, or is going to lose September 13th to Canelo Alvarez, as he is sparring here middleweight WBC world champion Carlos Adames, who has 24 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 18 wins by way of knockout. And people are saying that Carlos Adames, who's 5'11" with a 73-inch arm reach, is having his way with Terence Bud Crawford. And this is an indication that The 168-pound Canelo Alvarez, who's 5'7" with a 70-inch arm reach, is going to have the same type of success and knock Terence Crawford out. But what people are not paying attention to is Terence Crawford is standing right in front of Carlos Adames and taking the big punches from Carlos Adames as he's standing in the pocket and counterpunching him and taking his blows at a smaller weight class while competing at 147. Now he bulked up.
Another key talking point has been Canelo's recent performances. Though still the undisputed king at super middleweight, some believe his peak years may be behind him. His recent win over William Skull left critics questioning whether the Mexican superstar still has the same fire. Crawford, while respectful of Canelo's legacy, has urged him to bring his very best on September 13th. According to Crawford, this fight will define both of their careers.
We just got some footage. Terence Bud Crawford on his socials, on Instagram, that's where I got mine from, on Instagram, him throwing punches with the slip rope. I want you guys to tell me what you see. On top of that, I may get a copyright because I think he's playing some music, but I like the song so much. We'll just delete it later. Either way, after that, I show Canelo Alvarez on the slip rope when he was preparing for his last fight in William Skull.
Boxing legend Andre Ward has also weighed in. Known for his sharp ring IQ, Ward points out that both fighters are boxer punchers, balancing skill with power. But he warns neither can afford to be reckless. To win, they'll need to adapt, showing discipline and patience while seizing the right opportunities.
Of course, look, you've accomplished everything. You're a first ballot Hall of Famer. You've been undisputed now in 2 weight classes. This will give you undisputed championship in the 3rd weight class. But not just that, you know you're fighting an all-time great, and you know that the credit's going to go to you if you beat a guy like Canelo Alvarez at 168. Is that why you want it?
Well, when I beat him.
When you beat him.
Definitely. You know, the stakes is high. You know, it's high risk, high reward type of fight, and I'm looking forward to it.
When would you say, from memory, that you first thought this fight was a real possibility, that you started thinking about this fight actually happening?
Well, I started thinking about it, you know, a couple of years ago when they started talking about Spence fighting Canelo. Then just, you know, sizing him up, like, all right, how tall is he? You know, how long his arms and things like that, just sizing him up like that and going to his fights and things like that. And when he walk out the ring, I'm looking at him like, all that big, you know. So me talking with Turkey and Turkey not wanting to fight, and me like, yeah, this is the fight that I want, being that, you know, he's the last great.
Interview former light heavyweight champion Antonio Tarver sees things differently. He believes Crawford will come out on top. While admitting this is Bud's toughest test, Tarver thinks Crawford's intelligence, speed, and unpredictability will be too much for Canelo to handle. Interview: not everyone agrees. Regis Prograis warns against underestimating Canelo's strength. He reminds fans that Canelo has gone toe-to-toe with heavy hitters like Sergey Kovalev and Gennady Golovkin and emerged victorious. Moving up in weight, Prograis says, could cost Crawford some of his speed and power, an advantage Canelo will exploit.
I'm going with Terence Crawford. You know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. You know, it ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I have not been against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you.
Roy Jones Jr., one of the all-time greats, takes a more balanced view. He believes Crawford has more paths to victory. His adaptability and hunger could tip the scales in his favor. But Jones also cautions that if Canelo fights the perfect fight, he can still prove everyone wrong.
Terence, bro. He's a real deep thinker. He processed fights like nobody else. And he's processed this Canelo fight. He's seen it. He went through it 2 or 3 times already. He knows how this ends. You can tell the way he shadow boxes. He visualizing Canelo being right there in front of him. You understand? Look at the movement. That's all you got to do. Look at the movement. And that's the type of master boxer that Canelo is going to be facing. And the only thing I say is Canelo hasn't faced an opponent like this in a long time. You know what I mean? I think Canelo's going to have to go back to the Caleb Plant fight and look that good, that active, that, you feel me, moving with that type of grace to beat Terence Crawford. Because weight ain't going to make the difference. It ain't going to be the weight. It's going to be the skills.